problem. To migrate from a Muslim country to a non-Muslim country, it is haram unless it be for education or for the purpose of dawah. For education purpose you go, you acquire education, come back, no problem. Or if you go there not as a part-time da'i, as a full-time da'i to deliver the message, then the scholars say it's permissible. But if you just shift from Muslim land to a non-Muslim land for a better living as the questioner posed, it is not permitted at all. And I know there are millions of Muslims who have migrated from Muslim countries, from Pakistan, from Bangladesh, to Western countries, USA, Canada, European countries, only basically for a better living. They talk about education, so education you have to come back. Their main purpose is for a better living because they can earn more money. This is totally prohibited. Migrating from a Muslim country to a non-Muslim country for a better living is prohibited. But coming to the question, what is the reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has requested you to migrate? What is the reason? And our beloved Prophet said, it's mentioned in the Sahih Hadith of Abu Dawud, volume number 3, Hadith number 2645. And this Hadith is mentioned Sahih by Albani. The Prophet said, I disown those Muslims who live amongst the mushrikeen. I disown those Muslims who live amongst the idolaters. It's a Sahih Hadith. The Prophet is disowning all the Muslims who live among the mushrikeen. The reason is two. Number one is a Muslim may not be able to practice Islam in totality. There may be he can follow some aspects of deen. He cannot freely say he's a Muslim, he cannot freely offer salah, etc. And the second is the associated factors of that environment is such that it prevents you from doing the sunnah and the faraiz and takes you closer to the haram activities. Let me give you a better explanation. There are very few non-Muslim countries that really you can be proud to be Muslims. And in those countries also certain areas, not throughout the country. Secondly, one thing you have to understand that almost all the Western countries, the atmosphere is not very convenient for the Islamic lifestyle. Number one, in almost all the Western countries, there is obscenity. The obscenity is coming on your face. There is alcoholism, there is drug addiction, there is prostitution, and the big associated factor is riba. Most of the countries, most of the places you get involved in riba. It's difficult for you to stay away from riba. What you have to realize, some people may argue that, okay, there's obscenity even in Muslim countries. I agree with you, there are, but the levels differ. You go to a Muslim country, I don't know of any Muslim country in the world which is as close as American obscenity, as close as Canada as obscenity, not at all. Yes, there may be. It may be haram, but the level is less. And in certain non-Muslim countries, which are not the Western countries, the obscenity is less, depending upon the culture. What you have to realize that in the Western country, it is coming at your face, glaring. The moment you walk out, you see billboards of ladies which are scantily dressed, which are dressed with obscene clothes. Difficult. In a Muslim country, you may find, but not as much as what you find in the Western countries. So there is no comparison at all. So imagine when you walk, you have to lower your gaze. How can you live? I know there are many Muslims living in Western countries, and I've been to Western countries a lot. I've traveled a lot to America, I've traveled a lot to USA, to Canada, to Western countries. I've given my talk. And there are situations where some of the Muslims come and tell me, okay, when I came to the Western country, I became more Islamic. Possible? That is, yes, I agree with it, possible. But that's a small possibility. The chances of a person, a Muslim, going away from his deen is more in the Western countries than in the other parts of the world. More in a Western country than a Muslim country. So what you have to understand that there are possibilities that a person may go from Pakistan to America and become more practicing, may start reading Quran, may start offering Salah, but the percentage is very small. For example, because of Salman Rushdie, he wrote the book, The Satanic Verses, there are thousands of non-Muslims accepted Islam. That does not mean what Salman Rushdie did is right. What Salman Rushdie did is to be condemned. That's the different question, that even though it is wrong, in that wrong thing, it has its own benefits. The majority people that go to the Western country, they go away from the deen.